Hi everyone, this is Lloyd from Bizzfo with a short tutorial on capturing expenses and just processing the payment for that specific expense. So looking at this example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my accounting tab and I'm going to click on my capture expense. On the expense, what differs from, you'll notice at the bottom you can do a supplier invoice, which is pretty much the same as your expense, but in your expense you're starting category or ledger for your accounting would be an operating cost or expense, which is quite important. If this was stock, you would just select your stock or whatever. So by default, we're just capturing an expense. If you have not added your supply, you could go here and you would say, let's call it Checkers, Old Faithful. We click Save. I'm going to use this back button just to navigate back to the same screen. And at this point I can now say Checkers, and an invoice reference is given. I like putting in the invoice number behind the reference because if you think about it, you can get a lot of overlapping invoice numbers, which will make it far more difficult to identify this a bit later on. And what I want to do is I'm just going to put in a normal description. So if you type in something that's in your inventory, it will pick it up. But in this case, I'm just going to say we got milk. Let's call it staff milk. Staff milk is an expense, and I got one, and we paid 32 Rand for that, and I'm going to add the item. So you can add the inventory item, but we don't want to do that. We're just simply capturing an expense, and the item is listed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to say complete invoice. This invoice is now complete, but what I want to do as well is I need to process the payment on the specific invoice to make sure that it balances the books. So we're going to make a payment. So remember, this is Checkers. We're going to say supplier, make payment. I can see my Checkers is actually sitting here. I can click on the payment button, or I can go to my make payment. So I'm just going to do, let's do Checkers, and we click on our payment button. This is for my factory. And we are these are my bank accounts that have been set up. In this case, I'm using petty cash, so it's my cash on hand that I need to balance the payment. Reference, we can put an invoice number or just say cash, or let's say cash in store. And now I'm going to process that payment, and I actually forgot what the payment amount was. It was 32. I'm going to process the payment, 32. Alright, so let's have a look. I'm just going to click refresher, and there we go. So we've got our GRV, which is a goods received note, just another word for a supplier invoice. This is the payment, and this is the amount due, and you can see I did one from Pick n Pay. So just recapping, you want to use your expenses. Once you're done with your expense capture, you just want to hop on over and process and make your payment for your supplier. Thank you guys. Any questions, pop us a mail at info@bizzfo.co.za.